This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to Born Wild, the show that takes you into the heart of wild India. In today's episode, we introduce you to some of India's most endangered animals. Indeed, they're some of the most endangered animals in the world. These are the pygmy hog, the snow leopard, the red panda, and the Tibetan wolf. They're all struggling to survive in their individual habitats. Indeed, most of them are on the brink of extinction. The main reason for this is habitat loss, habitat degradation, poaching, and a lot of human interference. Of course, the best way to help these animals is to have conservation programs established in their own natural habitats. But sometimes this is not always feasible. So one safety mechanism that we do have are breeding programs. Special centers and zoos that take this up as a cause and set up breeding programs to help us have viable populations of these animals alive for any eventuality in the wild. So come with us to some of these breeding programs and meet people who help these animals survive. It's easy to see why these animals are called pygmy hogs. Related to the wild-born, the pig, this is as big as an adult gets. In the wild, they live in groups of 5 or 6 and breed just once a year. Home is a large grass nest piled up from available dry grass. They disappear under it in groups. This heaving mound of hay is a pygmy hog home. The loss of grasslands and hunting has forced this animal to the brink of extinction. We built a hide or a camouflage grass cubicle to be able to film them without disturbing the animals too much. It took hours of crouching and waiting to get the animals comfortable enough to go about their business in the natural way without fear of us. Of course, we did get the occasional curious visitor, and like any other teenagers, they like to arrive and explore in gangs. In this center, they started out with 6 hogs for the program. It was set up in 1996 in collaboration with the Indian government, the Ministry of Environment and Forests, the Assam Forest Department, conservationist Dr. Gautam Narayan, and the Gerald Jersey Wildlife Trust. Originally, they wanted to start with at least twice the number of hogs to have a successful breeding program, where inbreeding could be completely minimized. But the ministry felt that as these are highly endangered animals, only 6 of them would be captured in the wild. But now, with the success of the breeding program, the government has given permission for further wild capture in order to improve the gene pool stock at the conservation center. Extensive inbreeding in a program of this nature is a disaster, as such animals will be of no help in the wild. Inbred animals are weak, susceptible to disease, and less able to survive in the wild. Inbreeding happens when animals from the same strain are constantly mated with each other. So at this center, the whole process was monitored very scientifically. Starting out with just 6 wild-caught animals instead of 12 already narrowed it down. But the 6 had been caught from different groups and not the same family, so there was that much genetic diversity to begin with. After the 6 pairs were mated, each of the animals and the babies were tagged with microchips embedded into their skin. We were lucky enough to be there during a tagging. Before we entered the enclosure, we had to wash our feet in potassium permanganate solution, not to protect our feet, but to protect the hogs from the germs we might be carrying. The microchip is a tiny grain-sized transponder that is inserted into the hog from a special syringe. Every microchip has an encoded number and gives off an electronic reading. The numbers are serialized to enable the experts to recognize which family or strain a particular hog belongs to. In doing so, such hogs will not be mated with members from their family, thereby reducing the risk of inbreeding in new generations. No visitors are allowed into this centre and only the keepers deal with the hogs. Their handling is very minimal and also their diet, except when a female is pregnant, is kept as close to the natural diet as possible. In the wild, they eat a lot of termites, insects and tubers, which they dig up with their elongated noses and with their tiny tusks.